Okay, want to demonstrate a little bit here about just working on this upside down drawing, some kind of tips on what you might do to try to get into drawing on the right side of the brain, so you're concentrating more not on like the things that you're seeing right here, but kind of the goal of this whole assignment is to try to just like pick up information, see like a shape, see a line, and move it over to your paper. We're not doing, like tracing it or anything like that. We're trying to do it freehand, and we're just trying to do it with our eyes. Now, I went real slow at the top, and here's a couple things that I always look for, and when I'm kind of checking how students are doing this, is just how much you're zoning out and seeing the details. So, like for example, on this little shape right here, if you look, there's a little line right here where my pencil is. It kind of comes up. Look at that. You're going to draw that line just as you see it. So you're trying to draw the angle of these lines, and then I saw that line come up, so I'm putting it up right there. Look at this. Even right here, there's a place where the little photocopy machine made a little blurb right there. So I tried to draw that in. Now here I'm looking at this. This line comes up and stops up here. And many times it's just using your eyes to see, okay, that goes up a little. It's got to be perfect. What you want is it to be as close as perfect as you can, so that as you keep drawing, it'll come out right. And here's another little tip or trick that I do allow students to use when they're doing this assignment. One thing I'll let them do is use your pencil and your fingers to kind of make a measurement here. So I'm going to make a measurement of this whole thing, because here's the thing. Here's this line that starts on the left. Here's this line all the way over on the right. What I've found is if you shrink or enlarge, the rest of the picture you're drawing doesn't work. So what I'll do is I'll use my fingers and the pencil. So let's say right here, I'm going to measure from this line to that line using my finger and my pencil. So if I grab the pencil where this is, so that is the distance. Now I'm going to go over here and look at mine. So, oh, mine's maybe a tiny bit big. I might be enlarging just a little bit. And the way I'm looking at that again is, there's the distance to that little bump right there. Okay, oops, I drew mine a little bit bigger. So there's where you're going to use your eraser. So I think this line got too far out. You're going to use your eraser, and you're going to just bring it in a little bit. It kind of bumps in, and constantly what I'm doing when I'm doing this is I'm having my eye follow a line, and then I'm drawing that line. That's the whole trick to this, is your eye follows something and your pencil's trying to draw it. Now, oops, right there, I think I was rushing a little bit, and this didn't make a straight line, so I want to fix that. Now here's another thing. As you're drawing and moving the information from here to here, another thing is once you start to get pretty far, right? So I got all this information and I was going a little bit further. All of a sudden, you get to the middle of the page, and what do you start to notice when you get to the middle of the page? What do you see? Maybe in this area right around here. Yeah, you see fingers and hands, right? Something that you recognize. And now remember that symbols and different things that you recognize happen on the left side of the brain. Left side of the brain has symbols like a nose, an eye, a mouth. Well, guess what? Left side of the brain has symbol for a hand too. If you think of what a hand looks like, or you saw a symbol for your hand, the left side of the brain would recognize that. So what we want to do when we get to something we recognize is to try to go even slower, break it down, and try to draw exactly what we see. So when students are working on this, I tend to look at this section right here and say, okay, would you say that drawing fingers is hard and hands is hard or easy? And they would say, it's hard. Okay, so let's not draw hands. Let's draw these shapes right here. Let's see if we can draw these shapes. So I'm looking at this right here. There's a line that goes up. There's a tiny bump. There's another little tiny bump. Another little tiny bump. Now right here, look at this section right here. I see one shape. So I'm going to draw exactly what I see. I'm going to draw one shape. It goes like this. It makes a little S curve, goes around and comes up and completes itself. Okay, that's that one tiny shape right there. And actually, I think mine needs to be a little bit skinnier. Okay, so if you have to and you're going slow, I don't mind if you erase and make it perfect. So this is the whole trick to this, is going slow and drawing exactly what you see. Okay, next I'm going to add another little shape to it. It looks like this. So now there's one shape and there's two shapes. Now, right here there's really small shapes. You got to go a lot slower and draw exactly what you see. If you don't get this stuff right and you're going too fast, the next part of it's going to be super hard. The slower you go and go shape by shape. So look right here. Now here's a big mistake. Students see a fingernail and they tend to just draw something like this. They tend to draw something that's like a circle, like a fingernail, right? Because that's what your brain tells you is there. So what you're really trying to do is draw exactly what you see. So if you look closely right here, in fact, maybe I can even zoom the camera in on that. Let me try a zoom so you can really see what I'm talking about. Oops, zooming the wrong way. Okay, I'm talking about, look at this right here. See how those three lines don't touch? Right there where my pencil is? Those lines, and see how here it has 1, 2, 3 little lines that come out, and there's one line that's not touching anything, and a little V shape right here. So let me zoom back out now so you can see. So there's all those small little details. Don't think fingers, don't think hands. What you're trying to think is just those little details right there about drawing exactly what you see. So right here is where those three things, this little loop comes around. Notice I'm not even calling it a fingernail. It's just loop. Here's a line. This comes out in a little V shape right here. There's a little line that comes off of there connected. So, and you really need to just go slow and draw what you see. Oops, this curves a little bit. Again, I do this all the time. If I make a mistake, I'm going to erase it. So I'm looking at this shape right here, goes at an angle out just a little bit, and then it changes direction and it stops. It's very short. Sometimes also I'll use my finger and the pencil to make little measurements. So I might measure how big that shape is and see if I'm drawing it the same size. Because again, if you're shrinking or enlarging, look at this, as you go on and go on and go on and draw the rest of the picture, it's going to come out too distorted and too big. You're either going to be shrinking or enlarging then, and you're going to come out with a picture that's going to be frustrating to work with, because when you get to the end, it's going to be all big. So I would rather you go slow. Oops, I missed a little thing right here. I'd rather you go slow and draw what you see. Okay, look at this line right here, comes down and touches to there. So it goes down and touches right to here. This one, oops, I didn't connect that, comes out and comes back. And this is where this first line starts going. And then I'm just piecing all this tiny information together. Ooh, this is a really important one right here. See these shapes? Look at that shape. Oh, I'm not on camera. Look at this shape right here, from here to here. If you shrink or enlarge on this, on your drawing's going to come out messed up. So look what I do. Again, I'm going to use my finger, my pencil. See how I'm measuring the distance of this shape right here? And now I'm going to go over here and measure it on mine. That looks pretty good. Although I've been making little measurements with my pencil as I go along, so I think I already measured that once and corrected it. Again, you got to have all of these. Oh, look at that. See how this goes to here and these kind of all touch? For some reason when I was drawing that, I didn't make those touch. It's got to be exact. I'd rather you go slow and do this perfect than to go fast and do it all messed up. Oh, and look at this. I got to moving on to the hands. Look at this. This isn't even done. See, this line goes out and comes back up? I didn't draw that last little piece right there. So this goes down and then comes back up. So really, oh, and this line I think needs to go just a little bit longer. So really, I'd rather have you do this perfect than go on to here. You gotta go slow. This has a line that goes down and comes out. And this right here is where this bump right here is. So I'm looking at this. There's a little line that comes out about right here. It goes up, comes around. Now, oh, look at that. See how I made that touch? Well, it doesn't touch here. So something is off. Oops, I think I know what it is. I think I made this come out too far. I think it goes up, turns the direction, and cuts the corner before it gets there. So this line just goes to here. This line needs to come down and sweep along and go there a little bit. I think I made it come out too far. I don't mind erasing on something like this. Think of it like clay. You're pushing all the lines and moving them around. Oops, I'm drawing over here and you can't even see it on camera. I was adjusting this stuff way out over here. So again, you're going to go really slow. These distances are important. Look at this shape right here. I'm going to measure that with my pencil and my finger. And that's this shape right here. And so now I can see it needs to come to here. So this is a very skinny, and you got to look at the angles too. I think I need to straighten it out a little bit. It needs to come down to here, turns the corner, come back up, and it's going to go all the way to there. So this shape is that shape. And see why this is important, the distance from here to here, is look at this. Right here, this gives me information of where this line is going to come out. That's the width of this one shape right here. So if I measure that again, okay, that looks good, that looks good. Then I know this next line comes out right here. There's a couple places where the copy machine didn't quite capture it all the way. So you can even draw that little tiny stuff. And so that gives me this distance, and then everything's going to be the right proportion. So the trick to this is making everything the right proportion. You're going to go slow. Draw, gets to be really tiny details right in here. There's a line that goes this way, line that goes up. Then there's another little shape inside of here, this one right here. So again, go slow, not a race. Don't talk to yourself. Try to zone out. Just look at different shapes. Look at this shape, look at that shape. Do those look the same? Use your eyes. Don't use a ruler. That's mathematical. Remember rulers. If you're going to measure and say, oh, that's 3 inches, that's mathematical. We want to do this in a very right brain way. We're tricking our brain into seeing things and drawing them. If you can do this exercise, you will become a better artist at drawing quicker if you can pick up this information with your eyes and then put it down over here. You know, I don't want you to put the paper over here. I want it to be side by side. I said that in the directions. It needs to be side by side. So you're picking up the information and you're dropping it off over here. And so you're going to keep going really slow. Check your work. Check your work before you move on. It's got to be perfect before you move on, or else it's going to be frustrating. You don't want it to be all distorted in the end. All right. Good luck. Keep going. See if you can get a little bit further with this. Take your time. This is kind of a bigger assignment than the first things we did. And then you're going to take a picture of your drawing, the best you can, as far as you've got, and you're going to turn it into Google Classroom. All right.